Hi everyone, time for another video. My apologies first of all for the technical problems we've been having with the videos not playing and things. That's due to the fact that we switched over to a new video hosting service and a few little teething problems which need to be ironed out. Anyway, so as I promised in the last video, we're actually going to make an EA today. As I said, when I originally started doing it, I thought you can probably get away with doing it within a script, but in my tests it doesn't actually work that well, and the truth is a TrailingStop function such as this is actually best suited to an EA, and there's not actually a great deal to an EA that's not that complicated. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how to make an EA. Now I say without further ado, but actually I do have a confession first. When I was just testing through the code, to check that this all worked before recording this, I did spot a bit of a howler in some of what I've written here. If you look at this code here, this is the code for looping through all the orders. So here we have the loop through the orders. Here we select the order, and so if it's a buy, then we do that. And then here, what we should have, else if it's a sell, do that. But the functionality is a bit weird. So this block has been mixed up with this block. So we've actually got some duplication there. So what I need to do first is just to correct this. So that should be something like, it should be like that actually. Okay, so basically if you select it, then you have this whole block here. If it's a buy, you do that. If it's a sell, you do that. Okay. So that, I was just checking it, so that is correct now. Yes, that is now how it should be. Check it compiles. Okay. Reason why that won't have come up before is because the code is, if I tested on a long trade it would still have worked fine. If I tested on a short trade, I should have immediately have spotted that. And just so happened when I was doing my messing around, I tested on a short trade and I immediately discovered that it wasn't working. Okay, so there's that little correction to make. So now what we're going to do is make our EA. Okay, and then we're going to copy this code over to the EA. So first we hit on the new button here, Expert Advisor. Next. Now the name you're going to give it, just you can call it what you want obviously, but this is my TrailingStop EA. Okay, something to just, now what you can normally do is actually add parameters here using this add button, but I generally just prefer to add in the code. So it doesn't actually help that much, so I'm going to leave that for now. Click on the next button. Now there's various extra things which we will in the course of our programming thing go over as things you could add, but I'm not going to bother with any of those. We don't need them now, so just click through to the finish button and there we are. Right, so this is the code that's been made. So let's just have a look at it. I don't like the way that they space things out, and I also can't stand the way that the brackets are indented like this. So the first thing I do, this is just very anal of me, but the first thing I always do is move the brackets. Okay, and also this stupid stuff here. Let's spread it out a bit more. Right, so there's three functions that are being created, right? Initialization function called onInit, deinitialization function called onDeinit, and onTick. Basically what happens is when you add the EA to your chart, right, the first time it's added, at the moment it's added, this onInit function is called. So if there's any initialization you want to do, you do it in there. Okay. When the EA is removed from the chart finally at the end, this function is called onDeinit. So anything that you need to do to clean up anything that any memory you've allocated or anything like that, then you do anything you want to do at the end, you do it there. OnTick, as you might guess, is called every single tick otherwise. Okay, so basically every tick you have in the chart, every time there's a price change, this function is called and you get to do what you want to do. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Now what I'm going to do is take this code here, which is the code that we created. I'm going to copy it and just put it in here. Okay, so it should all compile because we haven't actually done anything. So all our code still works. So now what we need to do, we remember here we had this at the top, this function on bool. So we just stick that in the onTick function. So basically, every tick, I'm going to run my modified trailing stop function, which is this one here. I'm going to loop through all the orders, check I can select it, check that the symbol of the order matches the symbol of the EA is running in. Then it's either a buy and we try and get the trailing stop level, in which case we modify the stop, or it's a sell, we try and get the trailing stop level for a short, and we modify the stop. This is the code for modifying the order, and this is the trailing stop code. Okay, so let's compile that. Okay, and good point. N bars trail undeclared indicator. What that is actually is our input, which obviously we need still. Inputs are specified in the same way as they are for scripts, so let's check that works. There we go. Right, okay, let's go back to our demo account here. Oh, sorry, I've got a test trade on there already. In fact, well, let's leave it there. Okay, if you've got a test trade I bought there, and I have actually, let's remove that. Let me just, I'll move the stop back down there. So that was a test trade I was in the middle of doing. Okay, so I've gone along here. There's my stop loss. Okay, I'm going to add my trailing stop EA. Here it is. I add it, and 5-bar trail, why not? Okay, and what you should notice, there we are, is that the stop has moved to 1 point below the 5th bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, now, this is the thing, okay? What you'll notice is that every trade that the stop doesn't actually need to be modified. When the stop level comes out the same, you're going to get this error message, okay? And that'll keep going on every single tick, and it'll be really annoying. Okay, so I'm going to remove the EA. I'm going to show you what the problem is. Okay, this was our modify stop thing. You remember have an alert here, and it's a get last error. Now if I F1 on get last error, tells you these are the errors are listed in the in this function, in this list here, right? Now it was 1. That's not terribly helpful. No error return, but result is unknown. Okay, I happen to know. That's not very helpful, is it? That basically the problem is that the stop loss hasn't changed since last time. So you're trying to do this order modify thing, but the stop loss is the same as it was before. Okay, so here's your homework. Have a think about what you need to do to modify this code so that you're not calling this function if the stop loss hasn't actually changed. Okay, so I will show you a way of doing it in the next video. Okay, but we have now got our first EA trailing stop, albeit a rather annoying one that keeps flashing up these messages. Okay, so that's it for now, and then next time I'll show you how to modify the code so it's not quite so annoying. Okay, thanks very much then. Bye for now. Oh, as always, any questions, do let me know.